Here's the question. How do you make the impossible possible? Simple. Remove the I am, the ego. Now, how do you step into that newfound possibility? With a series of small intentional steps. Never forget, the greatest among us started from humble beginnings. But to truly unlock your potential, realize you're here for something greater. If you're yearning for more than just a good life, let's take that small step together to reach greatness. Welcome to the Greatness from Small Beginnings podcast, where we're talking to those who have gone from mediocrity to motivated, overlooked to overachieving, forgettable to unforgettable. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, everybody. This is the Greatness from Small Beginnings podcast. I'm back again, and I'm looking forward to talking to you on a subject that I wish I was the sage. I wish I was the expert, but I am not the expert. As you probably found out, I talk a lot of subjects that I need your help with. I need your prayers. I need your input, you and other people. And this is one that I thought I was doing pretty well at. And in the last number of days, I went, wait a minute, I am not doing as well as I thought, because there's nuances, there's layers to it, kind of like an onion. You peel one layer and you know what? There's another layer until there's nothing. And in my life on this subject, there's not nothing yet. That means there's more layers to peel off. The subject is forgiveness. I can't do it justice without talking eventually about the forgiveness that Jesus gave on the cross. So I will get to that, but I'm going to read in a fiction book that I don't believe is all fiction, because it basically is talking about these amazing principles. And it's going to be a little tricky because I don't necessarily want to, at this moment, reveal the book or necessarily, name the characters necessarily, but there's a younger guy and an older, very wise man speaking. So I'm going to read a portion, several pages worth. The younger guy asks, so after this stressful situation that you and I have been talking about, what is going to be your first priority? And the sage says, in fact, I've spent many hours in prayerful consideration of my response. And that's an easy question to answer. The first morning after this situation, I will greet the day with a forgiving spirit. Of all things, I will greet the day with a forgiving spirit, is what he says. The younger man says, how can you? I do not understand. The sage says, it's a very simple concept, actually. And in the single most important action I take on a regular basis. Forgiveness allows me to be an effective husband, father, friend, and leader. Confused, the younger man says, what does forgiveness have to do with being effective? The older one says, after leaning back, have you ever been so angry or upset with someone that all you could think of was that person and the horrible way you'd been treated? You think about him when you should be sleeping. All the things you should have said or would have said have since come to mind. When you couldn't be enjoying the evening with your family, your children aren't foremost in your thoughts. That person who offended you is receiving all your energy. You feel it as if you might explode. Leaning forward, the man says, have you ever felt that way? The other says, yes, I have. Well, I have too. I owe business failures, marital strife, and defeats in several races, in several things I've done in my life to those very feelings. But I also owe a great deal of my success I enjoyed discovering this simple secret. What secret? The secret of forgiveness. It is a secret that is hidden in plain sight. It costs nothing and is worth millions. It is available to everyone and used by few. If you harness the power of forgiveness, you will be revered, sought after, and wealthy. In essence, I guess, people will want to be around you. Oh, that's my commentary. The younger man looked puzzled. Just who is that I'm supposed to forgive? Everyone. But what if they don't ask for forgiveness? Huh. Most will not. Amazingly, many of those dastardly people who dare to occupy your mind with angry thoughts are actually wandering about life without any knowledge of your feelings or any conviction that they have done anything wrong. The younger man frowned. I'm sure that's all true, but I don't understand how you can forgive someone who doesn't ask you for forgiveness. Hmm. The sage says, for many years, I thought forgiveness was akin to a knighthood, something I bestowed upon some poor wretch who groveled at my feet and begged my blessings. But as I matured, I observed successful people. I gained a new perspective on forgiveness. I cannot recall a single book, including the Holy Bible, that says in order for you to forgive someone, he or she has to ask for it. Think about this concept. Where is the rule written that before I forgive people, they should have to deserve it? Where is it written that to be forgiven by me, you must have wronged me no more than 3 times, or 7 times, or 17 times? The unmistakable truth about forgiveness is that it is not a reward that must be earned. Forgiveness is a gift to be given. When I give forgiveness, I free my own spirit to release the anger and hatred harbored in my heart. By granting forgiveness, I free my spirit to pursue my future happily and unencumbered by the anchors of the past. Oh, man. And forgiveness, when granted to others, becomes a gift to myself. The younger man nodded slowly. I guess I never considered forgiveness to be something under my control. Well, let's sit down and talk about this for a moment, son. You are at a critical point in your life's race. And there exists a person to whom your forgiveness has been withheld far too long. By the limited authority I have been granted as your host for this short time, I must now warn you that without a forgiving spirit, your effectiveness as a husband, a father, a leader of people will be at an end. The key to everything your future holds, the touchstone that will, for you, bring dreams into reality, is forgiveness. The young man says, who is it? Sir, who is it? The older man stands up to leave. Sir, you have to tell me. It looks as if you're going to leave. You so much as said my life will be over if I do not forgive this person. So if it's that important, tell me, who must I forgive? The sage looked directly in the eyes of the younger man and said, yourself. Tears formed in the younger man's eyes, and the sage said to him, listen, your wife is not mad at you. Your children are not mad at you. Your friends are not mad at you, of which I am one. And God is not mad at you. So don't you be mad at you. Forgive yourself and begin anew. Forgiveness. Wow. It's a subject that, like I said, I thought the onion was down to nothing. And there's so many layers to it. Let me go on to say these things. Again, much of this is going to be from God's perspective because I don't think we get a great picture of forgiveness without seeing it God's way as he sent his son to die on the cross to create the ultimate forgiveness for you and for me, for giving us the pathway to forgive others by creating an example that resonates with the deepest part of our soul, our hearts. Genuine forgiveness can be hard. This is from a book called Vintage Masculinity, especially if the wounds are deep. But it is quite possibly the most important and transformative work we can do in our relationships with others and with ourselves. It requires strength to forgive those who have wronged us, humility to seek forgiveness from those who we have wronged, and wisdom and self awareness to reconcile broken relationships. This emulates the reconciliation between God and humanity made possible by Jesus' work on the cross. Forgiveness is not just for the benefit of others, but also for our own well being. We can dwell on the hurt that puts us in a place of victimhood. Holding on to unforgiveness breeds bitterness and resentment. It hinders our growth and our witness as followers of Jesus. By forgiving others, we let go of anger that damages us and allows God's healing and restoration to flow through our lives, bringing peace and so much more less drama. I was thinking about this recently, and I was thinking about what's this statement that I remembered. And it basically goes like this: holding on to bitterness, unforgiveness, is like drinking poison and expecting it to make another person sick or die. Is that even in any small way logical? No, it's not. Not even close. Why would we do that? Often the most difficult person to forgive is ourselves. Unforgiveness towards ourselves breeds a paralyzing shame. Bringing your mistakes into the light removes the enemy's power to use them against you. And the author suggests that we that we get people around us, that we get 2 to 4 people and meet regularly and basically confide in each other. And that's a really good point. I think this is important too. And I know that it's Christian speak, but we as men and women committed to emulate Jesus, lead a life of true and full forgiveness. We need to, of course. We seek the Holy Spirit's guidance. So when we are forgiven by Jesus, we were once on the cross, and then we accept that, then he provides the Holy Spirit with us to speak into our soul, to speak into our daily lives, to speak off. Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes we feel things that, oh, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't think that. I shouldn't act that way. And that is the Holy Spirit speaking to us. And then there's other times where we need big answers or even relatively small answers that we get a sense for how this should be and the answers that we have that should come our way. And that's the Holy Spirit speaking to us in many cases. It says here, let your actions mirror the grace of God. Your words reflect his mercy and your heart show his love. As we walk in forgiveness, we exemplify the transformative power of Jesus to a world that desperately needs reconciliation and unity. Wow. And then the last sentence down here, the enemy wants to keep you paralyzed and others hurt. Don't let him win this important battle. So that is what I have to say today. And man, I wish I was the expert on this. I wish I was not the guy that even recently mulled something over in my bed about some way I was offended by some other person. But instead of sleeping peacefully, I'm letting that person ruin my next day because I didn't get enough sleep. And that is not the way this should go. So that's my confession. That is me saying to you, the listener, please reach out for more on this subject. Again, I'm not an expert, but I have some things I can teach you, tell you, not teach you necessarily, but tell you. And you and I could relate together about this. But forgiveness is a big topic. And I am humbled by it. And yet, in many ways, I look at it and I say it is so necessary in my own life. When I talk about forgiveness this time, it's a constraint. I was just having a conversation with a business coach a few minutes ago, and we were talking about the higher level people in the business need to look for the things that are constraining the business. And they need to look at it from several different perspectives. And he gave me a really good acrostic that basically laid that out. And I appreciated that. But this subject of forgiveness is a constraint. If you're unforgiving, it's a constraint to us being what we should be. God put us on this earth for something great, for something amazing, and we are being less than that if we don't forgive, if we have bitterness in our heart. And that's what I want to kind of end this with, is that greatness from small beginnings. Don't keep your beginnings small because of unforgiveness. And that's what I'm working on. Zig Ziglar said, "You were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness." Here's the call to action. Now go be great.